Hello and welcome to the Bright Morning Podcast. I'm Elena Aguilar. Hi friends, so we are at the beginning of a series on coaching, designed specifically for new coaches, but absolutely useful and relevant for any coach. And this is coming out at the beginning of the 2023-24 school year to support you in launching what I hope will be your most powerful year as a coach ever. So in this episode, I am going to share with you the 6 elements of transformational coaching. So transformational coaching is the model that I have created, that I have been practicing and teaching others about for 20 years. And today I'm going to tell you the 6 core elements that define it. So I am really excited to share this with you, this refined definition of what is transformational coaching. And I am organizing this definition around the 6 core elements. It feels so hard to reduce or summarize what transformational coaching is in a set of bullet points, but that's what I'm committed to doing because that's what you need to know. So let me dive into it. Okay, this first element, it's really the big one. And in some ways you could say there's only like one core idea and then there's some sub-ideas that define transformational coaching, but that would be a little too dense. And so this first idea is the umbrella idea. I'll come back to unpacking this. I know you're like, what is it? Okay. The first idea is that transformational coaching is a holistic approach that explores 3 domains of who we are as human beings or as educators. And those 3 domains are our behaviors, our beliefs, and our ways of being. And I call this the 3 B's: behaviors, beliefs, and ways of being. And this is absolutely central and foundational and essential in transformational coaching. It's the core idea from which every other idea emerges. So traditional instructional coaching programs really focus on behaviors. They focus on instructional practices or assessment, design, classroom management, that kind of thing, but they don't necessarily address the beliefs from which those actions emerge. So every single thing we do, every action we take emerges from a belief, whether we are conscious of it or not. In order to change behaviors, we have to surface and explore the underlying beliefs. Sometimes some of those beliefs might need to change, or they might need to shift or be released or even abandoned. When we don't address beliefs, often what we see is superficial, unsustainable change. Sometimes maybe we see compliant behavior, but that's not what I'm interested in. That's not transformation. I'm committed to transformation. And that requires digging into the roots of behaviors. So let me give you a non-education, simple explanation of this concept, okay? I eat kale almost every day because I believe that it makes my body healthy. Otherwise, I would not eat kale. I don't love the taste of it. I eat very little sugar because I believe it harms my body. And let me tell you, if I did not believe that, I would eat a lot of sugar because I love the taste of it. I also believe that a little sugar once in a while doesn't hurt me. So I do eat a little sugar once in a while. On the days when maybe I drop the kale. Okay, these are beliefs about health that I have developed and strengthened. They are beliefs founded in data that occasionally I have to revisit in order to recommit to my kale or to stay off of the sugar. Every action we take emerges from a belief. We gotta dig those out. We're much more powerful and focused when our beliefs and our behaviors are aligned. Let me talk to you about a way of being. So, a way of being is kind of a philosophical concept, and it relates to our identities and how we show up in the world. It has a lot to do with how we experience and express our emotions. Let me give you an example. When I sit down for a coaching session with a new client, I aspire to show up as curious, compassionate, and humble. And I do this because I believe that this is the stance I need to take to develop a trusting relationship with my coachee. I believe that because I've studied the psychology of connection, because I've done some research and some learning. So this is my commitment to a way of being. And these beliefs mean that I enact the following behaviors. When I'm meeting with my new client, I ask facilitative questions. I speak far less than my client. I hold silence. I rarely interrupt. I consciously position my body in a way that communicates openness, like I am leaning backwards, my shoulders are back, my arms are open, my face is relaxed. So I intentionally create alignment between my way of being, my beliefs, and my behaviors. I know that's a lot. You might want to go back and listen to this again, especially if this is a new concept, because there's a lot in there. And it's hard to completely separate out a way of being from a belief. It's sort of hard to say which one comes first. Is it a belief that creates a way of being, or a way of being that creates a belief? Which is at the root of who we are. But it's not really necessary to do that. You need to know that our ways of being create beliefs. Our beliefs create ways of being. And behaviors emerge from both beliefs and ways of being. And both our beliefs and our ways of being do have their origins. They were generated in our childhoods. That's where our coping mechanisms come from. That's where our mental models or our belief systems originated. That's where our behaviors developed. So what I'm referencing, what I want you to know, is that a lot of what I'm talking about is informed from psychology and neuroscience. And it's actually helpful to understand a little bit of that research for the sake of our own individual well-being, as well as so that we can coach others. There's so much more to say about this, but I want you to know that a transformational coach, understanding all of this stuff about the 3 B's, a transformational coach makes 2 commitments. The first is a commitment to coaching the 3 B's, to coaching other people's behaviors, their beliefs, and their ways of being. That's the first commitment. The second commitment we make is to exploring our own 3 B's, to unpacking our ways of being, our beliefs, and our behaviors. We know that our growth and development is deeply connected, intricately tied to our ability to effectively coach others. So we use this framework of the 3 B's, behaviors, beliefs, and ways of being, to think about what we do with others and to think about our own learning and growth. We use this framework of the 3 B's because we know that there is no sustained transformation without digging into the roots of behaviors, without aligning behaviors, beliefs, and ways of being. This is a holistic model. Human beings are complex. We honor and we appreciate the complexity of what it is to be human, and we build skills to coach the 3 B's and to explore our own 3 B's. Okay, that is the first and the most important, the foundational, the essential definition of transformational coaching. I've got 5 more important elements, but they all connect to the concept of the three B's. So I'm going to still name those and I'll draw the connections. The second element is that emotions can be a source of wisdom, and we welcome them and we accept them. Emotions show up in our way of being. So here's where we loop back, okay? Because when we coach the three B's, we coach emotions. So a transformational coach is excited about the opportunity to learn about and coach emotions. A transformational coach understands that if we don't coach emotions, they can become obstacles in learning. But we also understand that emotions are a source of tremendous strength and power. They open us up to be able to be fully present, to feel compassion for another, to build trust, and they allow us to build our emotional resilience. So a transformational coach welcomes the opportunity to learn about and coach emotions. That's the second core idea, the core element of transformational coaching. We love emotions. We welcome them. We coach emotions. We learn about our own. The third element that defines transformational coaching is that relationships are critical. Relationships are absolutely critical to the success of coaching. And so a transformational coach refines this ability to connect with others and cultivate relationships. We know that there is no coaching without trust. So we build the skills to create trusting relationships. These skills include, just for example, listening. So we commit to learning about how to listen well, to practicing listening. We also know that in order to build trusting relationships, we have to sort through some of our own issues, maybe our own issues around trust and wanting approval, wanting connection and community. We have to attend to our need for relationships so that we can build healthy relationships with others. Okay, so that's the third thing, is that relationships are critical. We have to build relationships with our clients. We have to understand ourselves in relationships. That's number 3. Number 4 relates to coaching ways of being. So number 4 is that when we explore ways of being, we explore our own complex identities and the complex identities of our clients. And this includes our racialized and gendered identities. So these identity experiences are integral to who we are, to how we show up, to what we do. So coaches have to understand our own identities so that we can help our clients understand theirs. All of this means that we need to learn how to talk about differences. We need to understand different identity experiences. We need to learn about and understand the identities of people who have been marginalized. We need to learn about and understand the identities of Black, Indigenous, and people of color. There's so much learning that we need to do so that we can coach others around their ways of being, because their identities show up there when we're coaching ways of being. We transformational coaches recognize we can't bypass or ignore identity experiences, and in fact, they are sources of power. So that's the 4th element that defines transformational coaching. We explore identity when we coach way of being. We explore our own identities as well. The 5th element is one that I have indirectly touched on or woven into all these previous ones. And this is that a coach's development is central to the whole endeavor. Okay, a transformational coach has to explore and attend to their own behaviors and beliefs and ways of being. We can't lead others where we won't go ourselves. We have to do our own learning about all of these areas. I've said this multiple times already, but I'm actually just now extracting it and saying, this is number 5. We have to lean into the discomfort of learning, the discomfort of practice. We have to insist that we have the time to practice, to get feedback, to also enjoy the practice and learning, to enjoy exploring our own emotions and how we regulate our emotions and how we understand our identities. This is central to the effectiveness of transformational coaching. All right, number 6 is a little bit different than the previous 5. It is about the purpose of transformational coaching. So transformational coaching is a vehicle through which we can create equitable schools in which everyone thrives, in which every child gets whatever they need in order to be successful and to thrive in school every day, and in which every adult that works with those children can also thrive. Transformational coaching is a value-centered approach to coaching, and that value is equity, justice, healing, and ultimately the belief that everyone deserves to thrive. This is why this coaching model exists. This is why we dig into behaviors, beliefs, and ways of being, because we are committed to creating a world in which everyone thrives. That's number 6. Okay, so I know that was a lot. Those are the 6 elements that define transformational coaching. I'm going to remind you of these 6 as we close out. The first one is the biggest one. It's the umbrella, and it is this idea, this approach in which we coach the 3 B's. We coach behaviors, beliefs, and ways of being. Number 2 is that we welcome emotions and we coach emotions. Number 3 is that relationships are critical to the whole endeavor. Number 4 is that we explore identity, including racial and gendered identity experiences. Number 5 is that a coach's development is absolutely essential. We can't do this unless we focus on our growth and development. And number 6 is that transformational coaching is a vehicle to create equitable schools and an equitable world in which everyone thrives. So that, my friends, is what defines this model of coaching. And there is so much more for me to tell you about this. That is why I have written the books I've written. That is why I have created workshops like the Art of Coaching Workshop, which is a fantastic workshop if you are a new coach, even if you are an experienced coach and you haven't taken it, I promise you will learn something new. Check out the show notes for more resources, subscribe to the newsletter, and also, if you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend. All right, folks, thanks so much for listening. And Leslie Bickford, thank you for producing this podcast. And Stacy Goodman, thank you for doing the sound engineering. Take care, everyone. I'll see you next time.